Why did I become a private investigator? Well, it's an interesting story. For those who don't know me, my name is Lance, and I am a California licensed private investigator. And I used to be a police officer in California. And one of my jobs is I was assigned as a school resource officer. So I was at the high school, making sure nothing was going on. I was their liaison. I had an office there, so I was at the high school every day. And one day, one of the staff says, "Hey, there's a private investigator here who wants to talk to one of the kids." And I was like, okay, well, so I talked to the private investigator. I set up an appointment so they could interview one of the students. And then I just started questioning him. I was like, well, what are you doing? Who are you working for? How did you get, what are you doing? And basically he told me that he had a contract with the Indigent Defense Panel. So he was getting overflow cases from the public defender's office. So he was being paid by the county, even though he was independent. And I was like, okay. And then he told me how much they made. And I was like, that's not too bad, to do investigative type work. And, I've been doing investigations for years. I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I worked undercover, all this kind of stuff. I was like, okay. And I'm an entrepreneur. I was like, well, I wonder, if I could make that work, because, get into something on my own versus working for somebody else. So I did some investigation on what it took to become a private investigator. So there's rules that you have to do to become a private investigator. There's experience levels you have to have. You got to have a clean background, and you got to take a written exam as well. And then I wanted to research to find out, this Indigent Defense Panel. So even as a police officer, I went and I basically went to the panel. And I interviewed the top person there that did all of the, per se, contracting with the private investigators and the defense attorneys, to see if it was feasible, what I would need to do to get put on their list. And so, everything was a go. And so I, basically once I got my private investigator license, I resigned from the police department. And I started doing criminal defense work for not for the county, but it was like subcontract work for the county. So that's how I got started being a private investigator. So if you need a private investigator, there's a link in the video description or bio to my website, and you go there and you can have my contact information is there.